Hello, grade 10, and welcome to this English lesson. This is Miss Brianna, your English teacher from Knowledge Private School. Today, we will look at page 21 in your student book. This is page 21. Remember, in our previous lesson, we looked at this story about family heroes who fought a house fire. This was about the Horn family. Remember, John left, Julie and young Toby were at home. Julie was starting to cook dinner when Toby fell down the stairs. So Julie helped him, but then the oil caught fire. The fire spread through the house. They had to go upstairs, and the firefighter saved them. Here it says, read to find the correct meaning. So let's look at line 16 in the story. It says, when she smelt it. What is it referring to? The oil, the pan, or the fire? Take a look at line 16. Here it says, when she smelt it, she ran back and made a terrible mistake. What did she smell? Remember, if we see a word like it, or her, or she, or they, and we don't know what it's talking about, we can always look at the sentence before. So in the sentence before, it says, the chip pan got too hot and the oil caught fire. So what did she smell? She smelled the fire, basically. So the answer is C, the fire. You can draw a circle around C, the fire. Now in line 35, as she called 911 and asked for help. As she called 999 and asked for help. Who was she asking for help? Take a look at line 35. Here it says, her hands were shaking as she called 999 and asked for help. So, did she ask Toby for help? Did she phone to get help, or did she shout for help? Well, she actually phoned to get help. If you look back, you'll see she went and got her phone and she called 999 and she asked for help. So the answer is B. In this story, we see examples of past continuous and past simple. Remember, past simple is just when we simply add ed for regular or for a few verbs when we simply change the word. Past simple is like walked, talked. In these examples, we just add ed. Past simple is also words like ate. Yesterday I ate. Yesterday I drank. Yesterday I went. Okay, all of these are past simple verbs. What is a past continuous verb? Remember, we talked about past continuous before, and in our live class, past continuous refers to something that was happening before now. Now, you will have a video with Ms. Paymon explaining this further, but I will just quickly review. Past continuous means when we add the to be verb and we add ing. So you could say, and in this case, the to be verb is in the past, so that would be was or were. You could say, I was watching TV. I was sitting. She was outside. She was outside would be past simple. We could say she was walking outside. That would be past continuous. These examples say, at 7 p.m., John Horn left Julie and Toby. By 7:30, Toby was getting hungry. While she was working, he started to come downstairs. When she smelt it, she ran back. So this sentence, the first one and the fourth one, are examples of past simple. Smelt, ran, left. These are actions that happen in the past. But these two sentences are examples of past continuous. Was getting, was working. These are things that were happening in the past, and they happened over a space of time. So while she was working, this happened. He started to come downstairs. And by this time, Toby was getting hungry. So it's talking about a continuing action, but a continuing action in the past. Continuing on to part C, this says, ask and answer questions about the beginning of your lesson. So what was something doing when our teacher arrived? We could say, for example, what was Firas doing when our teacher arrived? Or what were you doing when the teacher arrived? This is an example of past continuous. I could say, I was writing on the board when my students came. I was opening my computer when the students came. I was sitting at my desk when the teacher came. All of these are examples of past continuous because they have the to be verb in the past, was or were, and ing. Now let's look at this section about fire. It says, did you know? Fires are always dangerous, but they can be fun too, if we're careful. In Japan, they built the largest bonfire in the world a few years ago. It was 37.5 meters high, the height of 3 houses. That's so crazy. So in Japan, they built a large fire. 37.5 meters is like 3 houses on top of each other. Now, repeat after me. Did you know? Fires are always dangerous, but they can be fun too, if we're careful. In Japan, they built the largest bonfire in the world a few years ago. It was 37.5 meters high, the height of 3 houses. Let's look at part D. Here, we will put these statements in the correct order. Let's think about the story that just happened. What happened first? A says, she got her mobile phone and called for help. B says, while Julie was helping him, the chip pan caught fire. C says, firefighters arrived and used a ladder to save the family. D says, later, Julie started cooking because Toby was getting hungry. E says, when she threw water on the oil, it exploded. F says, John Horn went to visit his wife in the hospital. G says, Julie carried Toby upstairs to the front bedroom. H says, Toby fell while he was coming downstairs. I says, when John came home, he ran upstairs through the fire. So let's put these sentences in the correct order. You can always check the story. The story is on page 20 in your student book. So what happened first? Take a minute and try to answer these questions, and then we will look at the answers. So first, the answer is F. John Horn went to visit his wife in the hospital. What happened next? Next is G. Julie carried Toby. Oh, it's not G. I think that the answer is, D actually. So D says later, Julie started cooking because Toby was getting hungry. What happened next? H. Toby fell while he was coming downstairs. What happened next? Next, while Julie was helping him, the chip pan caught fire. The answer is B. Now I'm going to let you finish this. This is what I want you to do for homework. Put the statements in the correct order. So I already gave you the first four, F, D, H, and B. So what happened next? What happened next? What happened next? You can write numbers next to them. For example, oh, F is number 1, D is number 2, H is number 3, B is number 4. So try to put all of them in the correct order. Here we have a small grammar section. Again, Payman will cover this further, but this just shows the difference between adjectives and adverbs. It says, the Horn family had a lucky escape last night. By 7:30, Toby was getting hungry. It exploded violently. I felt really frightened. So adjectives describe nouns. So adjectives describe people, places, things. For example, it says lucky escape. Lucky is describing the escape, which is a noun. Lucky is describing escape, which is a noun. Hungry is another adjective. Hungry, it's describing Toby. Toby was getting hungry. So what is an adverb? An adverb always ends with ly, and it does not describe a noun, it describes a verb. So if you remember, a verb is like eat, sleep, do, run, walk. Anything that we do is a verb. So adverbs describe verbs. For example, violently is an adverb that describes exploded. Exploded is a verb. Really is an adverb that describes frightened, which is actually an adjective. Frightened. So just remember that adjectives describe nouns and adverbs describe verbs. Adverbs usually end with ly. So hungry and lucky are adjectives. Violently and really are adverbs. And really is describing frightened. Frightened could be an adjective or it could also be a verb. So I am frightened. In this case, we make it stronger by adding the word really, which is an adverb. Okay, take a look at this section below. It says, I'm not frightened of being up high on a ladder, but I'm really frightened of rats. They're horrible. What are you frightened of? Frightened is another way of saying scared. So what is she frightened of? She's scared of being up high on a ladder. What is she really frightened of? She's really frightened of rats. And what are you frightened of? For homework, put the statements in the correct order from this page. Okay, that's all I have for you today for homework. Next time, we will work on your activity book, and I hope you can join for the live class. If you have questions, we will discuss your questions then and review these lessons. Thank you for watching and have a good week, everyone. Goodbye.